What happens when a California girl follows her wild heart straight into the untamed plains of Africa? And what happens when the very wildness she fights to protect ends up being her only salvation? This is Sarah's story. Sarah Johnson wasn't your typical California dreamer. Forget surfing. She dreamed of the savanna, the deep rumble of a lion's roar, the ground-shaking footsteps of an elephant. Her path started predictably enough, cutting her teeth at the world-famous San Diego Zoo. Surrounded by incredible animals, she learned the ropes, poured her heart into their care, and got seriously good at it. But even the amazing world of the zoo felt contained. It couldn't silence the call deep inside her, a whisper that grew into a roar. Africa. Trading sandy beaches for dusty plains, Sarah took a massive leap of faith, landing right in the heart of Kenya's legendary Masai Mara National Reserve. This wasn't some safari vacation, this was a calling, a headfirst dive into the raw, breathtaking wilderness she felt born to protect. The Mara didn't exactly roll out the welcome mat. Blazing hot days bled into bone-chilling nights. Comfort? Yeah, that was a luxury she left back in the States. But Sarah? She faced it all with that relentless California optimism, a smile seemingly plastered on her face. Every single day was pushing boundaries, patrolling miles of rugged land, deciphering tracks in the dirt, always watching for the shadows, the poachers. Her sheer grit and open heart quickly won over the local rangers. Soon, they weren't just co-workers, they were family, connected by the pulse of the savanna. And when the official patrol ended, her real work started. Hours spent just watching, learning, filling notebooks with the secrets of lions, elephants, rhinos. The zoo gave her the foundation, but the Mara was teaching her the real deal. Months flew by, and Sarah became part of the landscape, handling her ATV over the rough terrain like she'd been doing it forever. Patrols always meant backup. The savanna is beautiful, but it plays for keeps. Then came one scorching morning when fate threw a nasty curveball. Her partner, down for the count, hit by some sudden bug. Waiting wasn't an option. The animals, the threats, they don't take sick days. Gritting her teeth, loading extra water, gear, checking her radio, Sarah made the call. She was going out alone. The sun that day was brutal, just hammering down on the endless plain. Heat waves danced, making the horizon wobble. Being alone out here, it made the vastness feel infinite, the silence deafening. But Sarah kept going, scanning the brush, eyes peeled for any sign of wildlife or trouble. And then she saw it, tucked away near a dense thicket, a truck. Wrong. Everything screamed wrong. It looked too new, too clean for this place. And the license plate, gone or covered up. Her heart started pounding against her ribs. Instinct took over. She stopped her ATV a ways back, grabbed her binoculars. Empty? No. Two guys inside. Taking a deep breath, Sarah rode closer, hand up, signaling them to stop. A tense moment hung in the air. Finally, the hiss of brakes. Playing it cool, voice steady but firm, she asked to see what they were hauling. The men looked at each other, then gave a curt nod, their faces blank. The second that truck bed was visible, Sarah's blood ran cold. Pure horror seized her. Tied up, struggling feebly, was a massive rhinoceros. Poachers, no question. Before she could even process, before her hand could move to her radio or gear, they were on her, fast, vicious. They grabbed her, ignoring her yells, her warnings about consequences. Strong hands hauled her over to a big, isolated tree. Rough rope dug into her wrists as they bound her, tight. Then, with a chilling lack of concern, they jumped back in their truck and peeled out, leaving her tied up, a helpless target under the merciless African sun. Panic flared. She pulled, twisted, fought the ropes with everything she had, but they just bit deeper. The heat was a physical weight, suffocating her. Thirst became an agonizing burn in her throat. Her strength evaporated like morning dew. The edges of the world started to blur, consciousness fading, and then cutting through the haze, a sound, a low growl, getting closer, way too close. A jolt of adrenaline snapped her back. Her eyes flew open, and she froze solid. Lions, not one, a whole pride. Materializing out of the heat waves like golden ghosts, they circled the tree, silent, just watching. Then, the lionesses shifted, parting like a curtain, and he stepped through. A massive male, his mane a dark, ragged crown. Time just stopped. This was it. He padded closer, his sheer size and power sucking the air out of the world. He lowered his huge head, looking right at her with this unnerving intelligence in his eyes. Sarah braced herself for the end, but it never came. Instead, the lion did something totally unbelievable. He nudged her tied hands with his nose, then started to chew on the ropes. Gently, methodically. Fear dissolved into stunned confusion. Sarah just stared, and then she saw it. A faded but distinct scar on his neck. The memory hit her like a physical blow. A year ago, a young male lion torn up badly by hyenas, left to die. She'd found him, cleaned his wounds, stayed nearby, brought him kills until he regained his strength. This lion, the lion she had saved, her lion. He kept at it, those powerful jaws working with impossible care. And then, snap, the ropes frayed, loosened, fell away. Tears flooded Sarah's eyes, not fear anymore, but this overwhelming wave of relief, of pure gratitude. Hesitantly, trembling, she reached out, just brushing his thick mane. He let out a soft, deep rumble, almost like he understood. Kindness, offered freely a year before, had come back to save her life in the wildest way imaginable. The miracle of the moment was intense, but the rhino, duty snapped her back to reality. Scrambling up, fueled by a fresh surge of adrenaline, Sarah sprinted for her ATV. Her hands were shaking as she grabbed the radio mic. Her voice, raspy but strong, crackled over the airwaves, reporting the poachers, the stolen rhino, her location. Back at headquarters, things kicked into high gear. Rangers scrambled, alerts went out. Sarah? No way was she staying behind. She joined the pursuit. Following the tire tracks etched in the dust, it was a race against the clock. Hours later, near the edge of the reserve, they finally ran the truck down. The poachers were caught, and the rhino, banged up and stressed, but incredibly okay. After the vets gave the all clear, it was released back into the wild, back home. Justice, for today anyway, had won. For Sarah Johnson, that day was a brutal, terrifying, and ultimately profound lesson in the deep, unseen connections that run through the wild. Being saved by the very animal she had once rescued, it wasn't just a confirmation, it was a transformation. This wasn't just her job anymore, it was a pact, a sacred trust. Her determination, already solid, now felt unbreakable. She was staying. She would keep fighting. She would protect this incredible, unpredictable world of the Masai Mara, a world where sometimes, facing the greatest danger leads you straight to the most unbelievable miracle.